If you want this truck, subscribe to win it. Once we hit 10,000, I'm going to pick one lucky winner to receive this vehicle. After that, we're going to continue to give away vehicles and more products. So please go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and we'll get to the fun.
Oh yeah.
Okay guys, so I've pulled the transmission out of the CR18P hauler. How I did that is I removed the bed very carefully because it's still connected, and I disconnected the motor, and then I had to snip the motor, the zip straps that are tying the motor together underneath, and it goes through this hole, and then I pulled it out. I managed to get everything. Next, I actually pulled the pinion off of the motor in a vise, and then used a pair of pliers underneath of it, and then hammered sideways and pulled that off. It was really on there. So now I have to check the fusion and see how much will have to be trimmed off of the shaft. So we're looking at quite a bit, and we're going to be going off of where it's bolting in. So a fair amount. I'm also going to have to shave this down, and then I'm going to have to press it on. All right, so here we got the fusion in the vise. Now I'm going to tighten that just a little bit more. Don't over tighten this, guys, because you can crush the can quite easily if you overdo it. You still want a little bit of wiggle room. It just needs to be held in place more or less. What I'm doing here is I'm doing up the trim, and then I'm taking a little Dremel disc and I'm holding that at the base, and that's all I'm doing, little bit by little bit. Now you need to keep an eye on this because it will heat up the shaft and heat up the motor. So you're going to have to do this over time, slow it down, check it, because right now it's pretty close to 2 mil. But keep going, try and hold it up as straight as possible. I can feel the disc is starting to get hot, so I'm going to now turn this down. And going to take this as a little bit of damp towel. We're going to let the motor cool a bit. She's warm, but she's not too hot. All right, make sure this is zeroed out. Yeah, it's good enough. And we're still at 2.1. Now you want to make sure that you're measuring this not on the flat spot. So we still got a little ways to go. It'll take some time. You don't want to overdo it, and you want to definitely take your time doing this. So this one turned out way better than my last one. There's no gaps. Using a larger file is a little bit much. You can see here how smooth that is. It's better to use like a small Dremel sanding disc or a cutting disc. You really get that fineness on it. And then I used a 2000 grit wet dry sandpaper just for a couple seconds to finish smoothing that out. And now we have a very, very, very good fit on there. So I'm pretty happy about that. Looks good. So yeah. All right, we're gonna try and install this now. Hopefully I believe this Endura pinion, the 11 tooth that they have for their transmissions and motors for the TRX4M, should work. I did actually break the other one, trying to press fit it onto the motor shaft, but it didn't work after I drilled it out. And I kind of thought that would happen because it's only pot metal. But this was one from another kit, and it has the same characteristics for it. So we're going to try and get this mounted in and see if it works. So it looks like we got a pretty good mesh here. So we can go ahead and put this back together. This is a lot simpler to put together than the Endura housing. This one's pretty straightforward. You just slap it together and it meets up with the gear mesh. So no mucking about with that. I will tell you though, I did make a slot on the shaft, a flat spot for the, what do you call that? The grub screw for the pinion to hook up to, or else you don't, it's just going to be on the shaft itself. But there we go. Perfect. Awesome sauce right there. All right, guys, we're going to throw this back into the truck and we're going to get the wiring done and everything's going to be super awesome. Happy days are way ahead of us. All right. All right, so now all we need to do is do some programming because right now the motor's spinning in the wrong direction. So we'll do some programming on the ESC for the Fusion. But look at that. Nice and clean. No problems. The other thing is we're going to clean up all the wiring, as you can see here. So I do need to make a Y-splitter connector going from both the ESCs into the battery. So I'll do one of those. And then I have to get all this wire mess cleaned up and we should be good to go. All right, I just finished setting the ESC up for the Fusion. Right now I'm running a 3S and a 2S. I did find out that the original ESC can only run 2S, which means most likely that all the servos that are on here are only set up for probably a 6-volt system. So I'm running the 3S to the Fusion. Now I could use a splitter if I was running a 2S on the Fusion, but because I wanted more power, I'm using a different battery, but it doesn't matter. It's all going to fit in there. So we're just going to turn on both our switches here and check our steering. Yep, we got steering. Yep, everything's working there. And then got our winch in the back's working, and here for the, and we got our two-wheel drive. Our second gear is now running. So we're going to close up the cab. We're going to take it for a run. Oh, and I did find out when I took the bed apart to get the transmission out. So to get the transmission out, you need to remove the 3 screws on the bottom, and then these 2 screws here and here on both sides, as well as removing the deck for the flatbed, and then pulling the system out. You will need to remove this, and underneath the ESC here there are 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, and 4. That lifts up the whole platform here, and then you can easily work more easier to get that installed once you get the Fusion in place. But yes, I did find out when I did take this apart what these were for. I kind of thought I knew what they were for, but I didn't really understand exactly where they went. And they are for these nubs here and here. And what that is like sway bars. So I might actually install those. We'll see. Okay, I figured it out. Just took a look and was like, okay, the parts list says that that's all there is. And then I realized that grub screw fits in the middle of the sway bar there. So I need to line the flat spot and then screw this into place. So got that figured out. Wasn't really explained. Not the best of instructions. It would seem though that I am making my own threading here for inside of this part. So be wary of that. Okay, so we got those sway bars installed. Everything is put back together, and we can close her up and we can take her for a rip now. So let's head down back now that we got some sunny weather. Take two, camera's rolling. Get the trackmobile up there. Track's just barely narrow enough to make it on. Second controller. Now remember, I'm using the Fly Sky controller that the hauler came with because the ESC is actually doubles as a light kit, and it was easier just to get a second. Oh, we are dangerously close on that edge there. It was easier to get a second receiver and bind it and have two receivers running. Plus, I already had the receiver sitting around from a different vehicle. Ooh, lots of squish on those tires. Oh my god, we're going up. Going up. Nice, made it. So the sway bars on the rear axle is definitely doing their job. Whoa, she's tilting. Oh, nice. She kept it. All right, I would say that is successful for this truck, 100%. All right, let's take this up and see how she does. See how her rock crawling abilities are. Nice. All right, let's get this video done. Get the rock crawling here. This part's gonna be pretty tricky. Little bit of struggle with the servo now, getting up this harder stuff. There we go. See the sway bars working. Excellent.
I forgot.